The Deputy Prime Minister keeps it frank with the United Nations, the opposition leader experiencing difficulties obtaining his second jab, and police investigate a suspicious death. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Tuesday, May 11th. I'm just doing my job. These are the words of Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Public Works Desmond Bannister in response to the United Nations urging the Bahamas not to demolish those shanty towns over on Abaco. Here's Tyler Simonet with that report.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Public Works Desmond Bannister responding to that United Nations release, calling on the Bahamas government to halt the planned demolition of approximately 600 homes in 2 shanty towns on Abaco. The DPM says he's just doing his job for the Bahamian people. The United Nations experts cited health and humanitarian reasons for the halt. Well, just before the weekly cabinet meeting, the DPM responding to this call, as he says he has seen the release and that there are 2 questions he asked himself.
The first question is, what is in the best interest of the Bahamian people? Whose interest I'm supposed to represent. Okay? And then the other question is, what are the consequences of me not doing my job? Consequences of me not doing my job is that we could have a spread of E. coli in Abaco. Innocent people, the water in Abaco may be contaminated and people could be sick. We could have the constant, widespread enemy in our country where people decide that they're going to go on other people's land and take it over. And I can tell you that complaints in New Providence and elsewhere now have increased. I have a number of complaints from Bahamians who are saying that when they go to their property now, they're meeting shanty houses.
Minister Bannister says that as a result of these complaints, his ministry will conduct an exercise on New Providence very soon to look into this issue, and also makes this point.
It has come to a point where we have to decide whether we're going to have a society like the Bahamas or we're going to have a society like Haiti. And any of you have been to Haiti, you'll see what happens there. Dirt, garbage, shanty houses all over the place. We have to decide if that's what we want. And if we want that, then we have to decide that we're going to take a stance in the interest of our country. So I'm just carrying out my job based on the Bahamas.
The DPM also says this directly to the United Nations experts that made the call.
If those folks want to make a statement about the Bahamas, then we could, I think as a country, as we are reporting people, if they want them to come to their neighborhood and put a shanty town in their neighborhood, that's what you should ask them. How would they feel if in their neighborhood there's a shanty town with feces going in the groundwater, with the potential for people to get sick, with all the other challenges where you go on your land and someone is already there putting up a shanty house? I'd like you to ask them those questions when they raise these issues about the Bahamas. Because we're just trying to live in law and order, and we're just trying to protect the health and well-being of Bahamians.
A total of 177 shantytown residents are in a legal battle with the government over its bid to rid the nation of shantytowns. In August 2018, an injunction was granted protecting the applicants from eviction and their homes from being disconnected from services or demolished. However, according to the DPM, operations to demolish the farm and the farm road in Abaco will not be affected by this injunction. Demolition was set to continue last week, Friday, May 7, 2021. However, no update has been given. For JCN News, I'm Tyler Simonet.
Well, the opposition's also responding to the impending demolition of homes in the Farm Road and Farm. The issue has sparked lots of debate throughout the country and internationally. Immigration Minister Ellsworth Johnson recently strongly expressed the sovereignty of the Bahamas to uphold the laws of the land while accusing the United Nations of lacking balance in its critique of the process. Leader of the official opposition, Philip Davis, says both the government and the United Nations have made good points.
My understanding of the intervention by the United Nations was that not that you should allow illegality to prevail, not that you do not have the right to do what you're doing. It is that you do what you're doing in a humane manner. And in this instance, what they're saying, as I understand them, if you're going to destroy the homes where persons are staying, you need to be able to ensure that there is some alternative place for those persons. Because if there are no alternative places, then you are creating a further crisis, which will be worse than the one that you are attempting to cure.
The Progressive Liberal Party leader says the government must be minded to carry out the law in a humane fashion. In 2018, the Supreme Court granted an injunction protecting already existing shantytown homes in New Providence from destruction pending the outcome of a judicial review challenge over the matter. However, in this instance, government officials say homes targeted for demolition are newly built and are not subject to the injunction. The second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine is currently underway at all vaccination centers, but some residents who have already received the first dose of the vaccine are experiencing difficulty making an appointment for the second dose. The National COVID-19 Vaccine Consultative Committee says this is due in part to the migration of data from one digital platform to another. Well, the opposition leader this morning was affected by this issue and shared with the media his concerns. Our Jcn Saunders has the details in this report.
After taking the first dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine on March 20th, opposition leader Philip Brave Davis arrived at Loyola Hall on Tuesday morning to take his second vaccine shot, but was unable to do so because of technical difficulties with the system. Mr. Davis sharing with the media what he was told.
There are some issues with, they said, the app, the migration. Apparently the first platform that was constructed to assist in the vaccination exercise had glitches, and that platform was discarded, and the migration to the new platform, that exercise produced some defects. I'm a victim of that defect, and so I'm just waiting to have that corrected.
He also hopes such glitches do not discourage residents from taking the vaccine and is calling on the government to provide more public education on the benefits of taking the jab. As for those attempting to book a second appointment, you may receive a message advising that this is the first dose. The committee is also requesting that persons not go to a vaccination center for a second dose unless you have received an appointment for a second dose. Jcn Saunders for Jcn News.
The next batch of AstraZeneca vaccines arrived here in the capital today. This batch consists of 33,600 doses. Deputy Chair of the National COVID-19 Vaccine Consultative Committee told reporters on Monday, however, that efforts to secure more doses continue. As of Sunday, the National COVID-19 Vaccine Consultative Committee indicated that 36,000 persons have already been vaccinated.
Well, actually, we're going to be getting, our total number is going to be 120,000, okay? And you remember from previous conferences, we said that we would be getting a full complement of that by the end of May. So in addition to the 33,000, by the end of May, we'll be getting some more doses that will take us to the full 120,000. That's 20,000 from Serum and 100,000 from COVAX. So that now tells us we are able to get up to 60,000, okay? So again, and that doesn't even account for the fact that we are continually working on getting more supply from other sources in addition to that 120. So you have to kind of understand the position we're in. We don't have a surplus supply sitting around where we can say we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We literally have to manage it. I need you to understand when we say this. We literally have to manage it day to day, demand and supply.
Mr. Fields also assured that the committee won't have any issues with expiry dates. Now, as for sourcing other vaccines, he says this.
It's a constant, and there are other people obviously in the committee, at every government level, at diplomatic levels, etc. And we have, anticipated, or we do anticipate, and you can see from the United States and from other countries, that as we get more into the summer months, supply will become more available.
You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.